What drives a leader to declare war, to risk it all on the international stage? One might ponder over this question when considering the recent startling announcement from North Korea. The leadership of this enigmatic nation has always been a conundrum, a puzzle wrapped in an enigma. At the helm of this unpredictability stands Kim Jong-un, a figure who has repeatedly defied global expectations since his ascension to power. In the span of his reign, Kim Jong-un has steered the hermit nation through turbulent waters, often veering on the brink of international conflict. Yet his recent proclamation of going to war has sent tremors across the globe, evoking a sense of foreboding uncertainty. Who could be the target of this sudden declaration? What could be the catalyst that triggered such a drastic decision? In this sea of questions, one thing remains certain: this announcement marks a new chapter in North Korea's already tumultuous narrative. Let us delve into the sequence of events that led up to this shocking announcement. The road to war is often paved with a series of seemingly inconsequential decisions. To fully understand the lead-up to Kim Jong-un's decision to go to war, we'll need to rewind the clock and untangle the complex web of events. It all began with a series of political maneuvers, both domestically and internationally, that set the stage for this drastic move. Internally, North Korea has been facing a myriad of challenges. Economic hardships, aggravated by stringent international sanctions, have been a persistent thorn in the side of the regime. The inability to provide for the citizens has led to a growing dissatisfaction, and perhaps this move is an attempt to divert attention from these internal issues, fostering a sense of national unity against an external enemy. On the international front, relations with key players have been fraying at the edges. The once warm rapport with the United States has cooled significantly. Talks have stalled, sanctions have tightened, and goodwill gestures have been met with silence. It seems the window for diplomacy is closing, and Kim Jong-un may perceive war as his only option. In the region, tensions have been simmering. The ongoing dispute over the contested maritime border with South Korea, the northern limit line, has often been a flashpoint for conflict. Meanwhile, relationships with China, a key ally, have been strained due to North Korea's nuclear ambitions, creating a sense of isolation. Lastly, there have been some notable political maneuvers. The dismissal of several high-ranking officials, coupled with a ramp-up in military exercises, signals a shift towards a more militaristic stance. The testing of intercontinental ballistic missiles, despite international condemnation, also points to a significant change in strategy. With this backdrop, the declaration of war seems less abrupt, yet no less alarming. In the game of war, the first strike is often the most critical, but who is in the crosshairs of North Korea? The nation's choice of a first target is a matter of intense speculation. Would it be a regional adversary, or perhaps a global superpower? The answer carries heavy implications not just for the immediate target, but for the world at large. Selecting a regional adversary could ignite a localized conflict, with the potential to spiral into a broader Asian crisis. On the other hand, if a global superpower is chosen, it could trigger a worldwide crisis, effectively reshaping the entire geopolitical landscape. The choice of target also speaks volumes about North Korea's strategic objectives. Is it a show of strength, a desperate call for attention, or a calculated move to alter the balance of power? The international community, meanwhile, is expected to react swiftly and decisively. Sanctions, diplomatic pressure, and even military action are all on the table. The stakes are high and the margin for error is slim. The world watches with bated breath as the potential target braces for impact. War is not just a series of battles, it's a cascade of consequences. What might the future hold in this scenario? When we consider the aftermath of Kim Jong-un's decision, the ripple effects are vast and varied. Politically, a war could reshape the global landscape, altering alliances and relationships that have been in place for decades. Economically, the cost of war is astronomical, and the financial burden would be shouldered not just by North Korea, but by every nation that becomes entangled in the conflict. The humanitarian impact is perhaps the most devastating. War brings with it a wave of displacement, hunger and suffering that can span generations. The people of North Korea, and potentially those of other nations, face an uncertain and terrifying future. And let's not forget the potential environmental consequences. War can cause irreparable damage to our planet, which is already teetering on the brink of ecological disaster. As we stand at the precipice of this potential conflict, we must remember, war is a choice, not an inevitability. It's a path chosen by leaders, but its consequences are borne by all.